Hey there, and welcome to GamePoints episode 135, our weekly little get-together where we talk about recent gaming news. I am, as always, your host, Stephen Brown, and joining me today is...
I'm David, and I swear we've done 135 before.
We might have.
It's okay.
Now I have to look that up. God damn it, you put doubt in my head, now I gotta go look it up.
It's okay, it's okay. Welcome to Game Points, our weekly podcast where we talk about games, and we make up the episode number every single time. Yeah, we do this. We do the same.
Nope. 135 is accurate.
All right.
As accurate as the numbering system is.
He makes them up.
So, like I was saying, this is Game Points episode 135. Tonight, we have, well, not really all that much in way of big news. It's still kind of these slow doldrums after E3, and it's going to be like this for probably about another month. But we do have some interesting things I want to talk about. As always, if you're watching us live here at Twitch TV/GamePoints, feel free to join in the conversation. We stream live every Monday at 8 p.m., and we love it, Pacific Standard Time, by the way, and we love it when you can show up and actually interact with the chat. We try to take your questions live when we can. If you happen to be watching us on YouTube, however, or video on demand later on Twitch, whatever one suits your boat, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hell, dislike, just give me feedback. Just be cool about it. Either way, get involved with the conversation. I want this to be as much as your show as it is mine. Just understand I am the dictator, so it's as much of your show up until the point where I decide I am tired of your bullshit.
Oh, that sounds right. I'm fine with it though. You guys can pile it on.
So let's go ahead and start things off with it's gaming related, right? We can call this gaming related.
Yes, this is absolutely gaming related because it's a game franchise that's very popular that is not doing a whole ton of stuff right this second. So we got this instead.
So, for the past week or so, Nathan Fillion has been teasing on Instagram this whole Uncharted project he's working on, and earlier today he announced it. And it is a 15-minute fan film directed by Alan Ungar with Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake from Uncharted, and goddamn Stephen Lang as Sully.
Yeah.
And it is amazing. There'll be links posted both in the chat and down below if you want to go take a look at it.
It's about 15 minutes, but that whole rumor that everyone's always wanted, or at least a lot of people have wanted, of Nathan Fillion playing Nathan Drake in like the Uncharted film that's been rumored off and on and off and on, is pretty great. He nails most of the facial expressions. He's got good vocal pacing. I think Nolan North would be pretty proud. And yeah, it feels video gamey, but not overly. It's not too Doom.
But they deliberately make it video gamey, especially with some of the shots and facial expressions and poses they fall into.
Yeah, it's entertaining. It's a good nod.
It is. It is extremely well done. I know a lot of people sometimes hear fan film and go, oh, God, it's going to be some idiot with a camcorder. No. There are a lot of great fan films out there. This tradition has been online for a while, stretching all the way back.
This is like Dirty Laundry quality.
Yeah, the whole Adi Shankar bootleg universe stuff. So Power Ranger, there was the Dirty Laundry,
the Mortal Kombat short film.
Yeah, and let's not forget this has been around for a while, going all the way back to 2002's Batman Dead End, where they had essentially Batman versus Alien versus Predator, which was
basically what started this whole thing of fan films that don't suck.
Yeah, and oddly enough, Andrew Koenig, Chekhov's son, is one of the best portrayals of the Joker I've ever seen in film. He really does put Joker well in Batman Dead End. So, fan films definitely have their place, and I'm so happy this didn't have all kinds of DMCA strikes against or anything like that, because Sony is actually within their rights to kill this project. This is something that is using established trademark and copyrighted IP.
They probably sent a million letters saying, please let us use this, please don't take this down. And Sony's just like weighing to see how popular it is and see if it costs them any money. If Uncharted sells a couple extra copies, though, I think they'll be fine with it.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't think anyone who's going to actually watch this doesn't already have Uncharted. So I don't know if it's going to affect the sales that much.
It'd be fun, though. Maybe Sony will put their logo on front. That's what I'd want to see.
Yep. So there are a couple things I do want to mention about this that people seem to be saying. One of them is there's a lot of feedback saying Nathan Fillion might be a little too old for Drake at this point. What do you think?
I mean, he's too old for Uncharted 1 Nathan Drake, but come on, Uncharted 4 Nathan Drake isn't a fucking spring chicken.
Yeah, that's my stance on it too. It's like, okay, I get
like,
that.
Put this after all 4 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, put this as way the hell later, Nathan Drake. He still looks better than Harrison Ford did when he came back for the
God.
Crystal Skull.
Let's not associate Harrison Ford with Indiana newer. Let's not even mention newer Indiana Jones anymore, right? We can all accept that The Last Crusade was the last Indiana Jones movie.
Besides the announced new one they're gonna make, it's
Nope.
gonna bring 70-year-old
No,
Indiana back.
there's no announced new one. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh man, sorry everybody. Didn't mean to bring you
That
down.
does not exist.
All right.
So Nathan Fillion still makes an amazing Nathan Drake. I can understand the argument that might be a little too old. And keep in mind, people were pushing for him to be Nathan Drake back 10 years ago. So it's been 10 or 15. I want to say the first Uncharted came out in 2008, maybe
Sounds
2006.
right-ish.
Either way, I get he might be too old argument, but I can also just say, fine, the movie's after Uncharted 4, but before the epilogue of Uncharted 4.
Yeah, that's fine.
What do you think about Stephen Lang as Sully?
Oh my god, dude. Stephen Lang can be everybody. I don't care. I'm fine with it. I like that actor, so I'm good with it.
He didn't get to play Cable, unfortunately.
Yeah, which I'm still mad about.
Which is the role he was born for.
Yeah, flipping Josh Brolin didn't need 2 damn parts. He didn't need to be in both universes. It's messed up.
However, I never pictured Stephen Lang as Sully. Now I can't not picture Stephen Lang as Sully because he does that character so goddamn well.
That's great.
Solid Elena.
Stop paying attention to us. Make sure you watch that.
Solid Elena.
If you're at all interested in Uncharted, anyway.
Also, special shout out to Ernie Reyes Jr. being in this film.
Dude, Donatello himself coming back.
Such an odd random pick of someone showing up there, but in a good role. So yeah, give it a look-see. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. I personally love it. One of the comments on the YouTube page did say this is the leaked Deadpool Ryan Reynolds trailer. Now just go make the real one.
Yeah, basically.
So let's hope this actually leads into something bigger, because I thought it was enjoyable, and I really liked how they deliberately paid homage to the video game. Like with some of the angles and some of the deliberate faces he makes and the moves he does. Like, they're deliberately done to do that. So,
oh, dude, yeah, when he gets mad at his gun, it's pretty great.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to it. Go take a look at it. It's 15 minutes. And as much as I would love to keep talking about this, we do have to move on to probably the other big news story of last week, at least in my opinion. I thought this was hilarious.
This is pretty damn funny. We've been making fun of this game for a long time. If you go back to some of our older episodes, this is something that we got really mad about when it came out, because we both wanted it to be good, and then it was this total shit show. And it was a joke, right? It was laughed about in the industry. Everyone talking about how bad this game was, and
yeah, universally panned is what I would say.
We're talking about Aliens: Colonial Marines. Everyone got excited that there was going to be an Aliens game coming from Gearbox, although they didn't actually fucking make it at all, and that's kind of part of the problem. It had a ton of issues. It was filled with bugs. It was damn near unplayable, and like the modders went to work trying to fix it, and they found a really interesting one recently. Keep in mind, this game came out, years ago now. But it turns out the biggest bug in the game is actually a single letter.
This via moddb.com. There is apparently a massive modding community. That is not the page that I want to show. That is my notes. Those are my notes. Hold on. We can do this.
He writes everything down.
We can do this here.
I wing it.
I can make this happen. There we go. I don't know why my notes popped up on there. So, moddb.com. Apparently, there is a dedicated group to rebuilding Aliens Colonial Marines from the ground up, and they found something interesting. Like I said, a misplaced typo. The original bit of the line of code said the following here. I'm going to highlight it because there's no way I'm going to read this entire thing. But the part you need to focus on is right there. Now, if you notice, there's an extra A.
Oh, look at that. They spelled something wrong. That's not a big deal, right? Code doesn't ever refer to anything else.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how that works.
So they fixed the typo and then went back to play the game, and apparently it fixed a lot of the issues with the AI, specifically these two things.
With the monster AI. Keep in mind that this is specifically a Xeno-based piece of code. So it doesn't really fix the troopers.
Yes.
I mean, they're a little better just from some of the other fixes that they've done. But it means that the aliens do less of the freeze frame, hold a pose, float across the screen doing nothing, or just walking at you like an idiot. They actually like take cover and move vertically and bother to do anything, which is kind of amazing that that was possible.
From the actual article itself. When a Xeno is spawned, when a Xeno is spawned, it is attached to a zone tether. This zone tells the Xeno what area its fighting space and where the different exits are. I.e., it's going to let it know, okay, this is the part of the map I'm going to be in. I can come in and out of here. I can move around and try to flank and stuff and come up from behind. In combat, a Xeno will be forced to switch to the new tether so as to flank, disperse, or so they aren't grouped up, etc. Long story short, this typo made it to where the AI didn't know the map. It was like blind. The only thing it knew was, okay, here's the enemy, but I don't see any of the walls. I don't know what specific location I'm in. I don't know all the cool areas I can come out and get the guy at, so I'm just going to charge forward.
Yeah.
All because of an extra A.
It's ridiculous.
Now, so it's remarkably easy to rag, specifically on Colonial Marines. There's a lot of things wrong with it. But how many lines of code are there in this game? And it's not like you could do a spell check on a line of code on a page full of code. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, I don't know who had the time to go through all this and actually find this typo. That's kind of insane.
So
maybe they built some kind of software to do it, but that seems like it's almost more work.
Right. I understand how something like this could have been missed, but QA should have picked it up around somewhere. So I'm not necessarily going to say that Gearbox deserves a pass for a typo popping up on there, because they don't.
I mean, if the AI is broken, and specifically the monster AI, maybe look at the monster AI code.
It's just amazing how one little thing can cause a video game crash down around you, which just shows how complex these goddamn things are to make.
Yeah, which then counteracts my first point, because, you know, it can be a billion lines of code. So maybe looking at the enemy AI code is outrageously fucking difficult. I'm not a coder.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you can. You have to get it right on the first time or you're screwed.
Yeah.
It also makes me wonder how many games have a misspelling somewhere that kept causing something to glitch out, and whoever was developing it said, fuck it, let's just put in a different path to go around that, and just tossed out that entire thing as one mistyped letter. or they put it in like a fix that just overrides that specific segment entirely with a new line of code on there. Like, how much redundancy is there in developing a game?
There's probably a good amount. We should ask the Anthem devs.
Let's not fire that game into the sun yet until it comes out. That game could be good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be a bad game. I'm just saying that it seems like it's in some amount of development struggle, because all games are a bitch to make. That's something that's pretty apparent if you like look between the lines. So I could just imagine that when you're building a giant MMO-esque game where there's tons of loot, tons of systems, tons of things working with each other, that one little typo could break way more than just having enemies walk in a straight line more than they should.
Right. And it doesn't help that it seems like a lot of talent at BioWare is leaving or retiring.
Yeah.
Like
that's all I'm saying.
I need to compile a list of everyone that's bounced out of BioWare over the past 2 or 3 years, or in one unfortunate case died. I think Corey Gaspar, I think he died. I think he was the one that died. I'm not positive on that. I need to go back and look it up. But yeah, a single extra A broke the AI code for the aliens in that game. So
it's ridiculous.
Making games is hard, yo.
Dude, making games is hella hard. That's why instead of making them, we just talk about them on the internet. We're woefully underqualified, but we do our best. And by that, I mean he does a good amount, and I show up on time most of the time.
It's easy to criticize and fun, too.
Yes, absolutely.
So, while on the topic of Gearbox, and god damn it, I have such a love-hate relationship with Gearbox, because
It's funny to me. You're like way more into Gearbox than I ever was.
I hate shit like Colonial Marines, and I think that Randy Pitchford himself sold a bad bill of goods on that, and he keeps trying to defend his actions on it, and I think that's bad. But conversely, Randy Pitchford does some awesome stuff, like talk with the fans, like specifically talk with me about this next story in one small little tweet. It looks like Brothers in Arms is still in development for people who are wondering about it, and the source of this is, well, fucking me on Twitter of all things. I randomly tweeted out, I feel we'll do for another Brothers in Arms, make it happen, Duval Magic, which is Randy Duval here. Or Randy Duval. Randy Pitchford. I kept calling him Randy Duval.
Totally
Randy
different guy.
Pitchford, rather. He responded back saying top men are working on it. You know, the infamous Indiana Jones quote. But hey, we have confirmation. Brothers in Arms still being worked on. And god damn it, I do feel like it's time for another Brothers in Arms. What do you think?
I think that I don't give two shits about the entire franchise. Sorry, bro. Oh man.
I
mean, you led me right into that. I had to.
I hate you so much. I love the Brothers in Arms franchise. I love it so much. I know people got tired of World War II shooters, but god damn it, that was such a... It was extremely narrative focused. I had like an emotional investment in a lot of the characters on that. It wasn't a generic first-person shooter. You had to actually take cover and flank and lay down suppressing firepower with your squads. I love the way it was done up. If you ever played Full Spectrum Warrior, similar idea as far as mechanics go. And
I mean, they only made 12 of those games in 9 years.
What, Brothers in Arms?
Yeah.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah.
Because there's only 3 of them that I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, keep in mind that I'm also counting a bunch of like small mobile or portable games and shit. Like
Fair enough.
I just looked at the franchise history.
Yeah, if you're counting like portable games, I don't count those. I never played those. I can think of 3 major ones. There was Road to 30, I think Hell's Highway, and I think
Earned in Blood, D-Day,
yeah, Earned in Blood,
Double Time, Hour of Heroes.
No, those ones are not ones that I know.
What about Global Front or Sons of War?
Excuse me, but it might be the spike.
There you go. Yeah, just for me personally, the World War II video game, I know that everyone's like excited to go back, and we have, the next Battlefield and Call of Duty went back and all this stuff, and it's been a long time. I get that. World War II is where the first-person shooter, like, narrative-style genre with fun multiplayer kind of began, at least in the modern console age.
Hey, remember, Call of Duty started as a World War II game.
Yeah. I mean, Battlefield 1942 is still one of my favorite games. I'm not super hyped to get back into World War II. I get that there's tons of stuff you can pull from there, and it's like it's a really interesting story that you can tell all kinds of tales. But I'm just not hyped on it. My bad.
Fair enough.
It's just not for me.
Apparently, running the show is not for me either, because while you were talking about all that, I started changing panels by accident. I actually put ourselves up on our own Twitch page there for a bit.
Nice.
It's all gone to hell. It's all gone to hell,
That's
John.
okay. He's so distraught about the fact that I don't love Brothers in Arms that it's screwing up the entire show. So we can blame me for that. But something you can't blame me for is the fact that the Overwatch League is going to be on ESPN.
Watch me. I'll find a way to do it somehow.
In a rare turn of events, this story is actually from ESPN.com. Look at that. In a quote from the website, Overwatch League is coming to the ESPN, Disney, and ABC family networks. ESPN, Disney, and Blizzard Entertainment announced on Wednesday. The multi-year broadcast deal includes the Overwatch League playoffs, which begin Wednesday night, Season 1 grand finals from the Barclays Center in New York this month, and Overwatch League Season 2 next year. In all, professional Overwatch will be broadcast in some fashion on the flagship ESPN network, ESPN2, Disney XD, ABC, ESPN 8 The Ocho, and streaming services for the term of the agreement.
The Ocho.
Sorry, I had to get that in there. This agreement, however, does not cancel existing distribution agreements already in place, like Twitch broadcasts. So this is in addition to their existing streaming rights and everything. So we're just also getting Overwatch on ESPN, and a whole bunch of people are going to get mad about that, like they get mad when they see Dota on their sports channel. But suck it. If golf's a sport, so is playing a video game.
I mean, we could bash that idea all we want, right? That, esports aren't actual sports, etc. Video games should be on ESPN. Long and the short of it is, these motherfuckers make money.
Yeah, it's really that.
A bunch of money.
There's a lot of people that watch them.
Yeah. And we are also having declining football viewership. We're having declining basketball viewership. Like, viewership of all normal mainstream sports is going down. Because there's just less and less people interested in them. They're turning to things like Overwatch, League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm. And this isn't the first time these things have been broadcast on TV, specifically Blizzard. Blizzard and ESPN, as well as I want to say TNT or TBS, one of the two, have this special relationship where they're actually showing their tournaments, and this is just the expansion of that. One thing I do want to mention, by the way, while the article does say that this agreement does not cancel existing distribution agreements already in place like Twitch broadcasts, that does not mean they're going to be on Twitch forever. I wouldn't be surprised that when those agreements expire, they just choose not to renew them with Twitch. I wouldn't be surprised if this ESPN deal had some form of exclusivity built inside of it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Are you down for this? Do you watch esports?
Yeah, I actually like esports. The funny thing is that I'll continue to not watch anything on ESPN because I don't have cable. So this like doesn't affect me in any way. I'm just gonna keep watching stuff on Twitch. Although if they move Rocket League to ESPN, then let me know.
Well, doesn't ESPN you'd imagine they would have some kind of like online subscription service or something, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Plus, you would also think things like, well, I don't know. It depends on how much money's thrown at them. Because Rocket League, would they show their own tournament on like their website, or would that just all be handled by? I guess that just all falls down.
Everything's on Twitch for them.
Yeah, I guess it all falls down to what the details of the agreements are, right?
Basically, I don't know exactly how they negotiate that stuff, but as far as I know, they just host it on their Twitch channel. There's
Fair
like
enough.
the European League and there's the American League, and then they do the finals.
Fair enough. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next story here. This is where I would show you the next webpage, but if you've been watching for the past 15 minutes or so, I can't get the goddamn show to work tonight. So we're just going to go ahead and read this directly from Variety.com. If you want to go take a look at, links will be provided down below. Headline, Capcom shelves plummet nearly 13% following analysis concerns over Monster Hunter World. That's right, Monster Hunter World, one of Capcom's fastest selling games of all time, is actually causing their stock to drop.
This is weird, but remember their stock jumped a bunch when that game came out, because that's how fucking stocks work. When companies make money, their stock goes up, and when they're not making money, the stocks go down. And basically, the guys that do the forecasting, or the guys in suits that pretend that they know how the video game industry works, are mad that it doesn't have the same kind of tail that all of the permanent games of a services do, because the game is in sales decline. It's not shipping the same numbers it was at launch, which is, usually how video games work in general, unless it's Fortnite, in which case that doesn't sell for any fucking money in the first place, so it doesn't matter. But it's not just making money hand over fist, so they don't see the projection for the stock price to be high. They assume it's going to drop because they're not selling Monster Hunter all the time. I don't know. This is so weird. It's just a strange bullshit thing that could only happen now because games of a service is such a fucking huge deal. Everyone is looking to have the next Fortnite. Everyone is looking to have the next just game that you can't stop playing and keep giving money to, and has just constant money and hammering you with microtransactions. Monster Hunter doesn't really have any fucking microtransactions in it. That's the thing, is it has some DLC packs for like some hair and some costumes, and then that's it. There's no, oh, let me pay money so I can get my new sword unlock, or let me pay a bunch of extra money so that I can get this monster. They just add stuff to that game because Capcom's awesome. And because of the fact that they're treating their fans well, and they're building what I consider to be a good video game ecosystem, they're getting shit on by investors because it's not the way to make money.
So the direct quote from Variety itself is as following. Japanese game developer Capcom stock plummeted 12.9% on Tuesday after a downgrade from Bank of America Merrill Lynch. According to the Financial Times, its share target price was reduced from 2,800 yen to 2,300 yen, citing significant risk of sales decline for its massively popular title Monster Hunter World. Long story short, it's what David was just saying. Monster Hunter World sold really great, but it has no tail. It doesn't have anything to keep bringing back people in like Rainbow Six or Destiny or Fortnite or The Division. So investors sit here and go, oh shit, you made a lot of money. Awesome, cool. You guys have a way to keep monetizing this, right?
Well, it's not that it can't keep bringing people in, because I know tons of people that still play that game all the time. But the problem is that no one's spending money on it anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. They have no way to monetize it beyond that part.
There's only a handful of DLC things that you can get, and then you're done, which I think is amazing. But investors don't, because they're not making extra money.
You want to know why companies like EA, I know we all love to bash EA, but you want to know why they keep doing things that gamers seem to hate, why they shut down studios, why
Because it
they...
makes them money.
Yes.
Everything is about money.
These guys aren't in it to make games you like.
Nope.
They're in it to make money. So when their investors go, well, we see that mobile games bring in $2 billion a year. I had a story on here that I cut. Something like Clash Royale made $2 billion. And investors...
Pokemon Go made $2 billion.
Yeah.
I think they just hit it.
Investors, the guys that the shareholders, the guys that companies like EA actually do listen to because they're the ones writing their checks, understandably so, in my opinion, they go, make that kind of money. Make a game just like that. So they do. Because you're going to tell a guy who's giving you hundreds of $1,000s a year in investments to go fuck himself? No, you're going to do what he says. And I know we all hate that, right? I know
that's the reason why projects just get abandoned. EA is great at this. They'll release a game that people like, but it's not instantly the next hit. It doesn't have breakout overnight success. It doesn't start making money hand over fist, and they just drop it. They cancel it. They close it down. It's done.
Right.
And that's how a lot of these companies operate. Except for, let me mention, Digital Extremes and the greatness that is Warframe.
But Warframe has a long tail.
Yeah. Well, and those are the guys that just never gave up, because that is a game that launched really shitty, and then they did a lot of work to keep it interesting for the fans, and people then paid them back, more or less.
The important thing to take away from this story isn't that Capcom might be in trouble, because I don't think it is. The important thing to take away from the story is this
is where
games as a service idea. That is what the new zeitgeist is right here. That is why everything is having these, things like Hitman that normally don't even have anything like that, have the limited bounties or whatever the hell they're called, when they're like, hey, come back for 2 weeks and hunt this target that's only going to be here for 3 days, and things like that. That's why you're seeing so many of these single player games like Assassin's Creed have these limited time events. They're designed to take up all of your time. They want as much of your time as they can, because the more eyes you have on their product, the more likely you are to buy something else. Monster Hunter...
Every game that comes out wants to be the last game you play for the rest of your life.
Correct. 1 second.
Yeah.
My apologies. I'm still getting over this cold. I keep muting my microphone.
You're fine.
Monster Hunter is not really good at that. Yes, they do have limited time events. Yes, they have reoccurring events, but they're not pushing them nearly as hard, and that is what hit their stock price. And this is the future. And you have to look no farther than the bigger name games coming out, because everything is games as a service. Loot boxes, for the most part, are going to be a thing of a past unless they've already been established in things like Overwatch. Look at things like Fortnite, however. Fortnite is a master at getting you to come back to that game over and over again, especially with their constant little tease updates. Like, it started off with the meteor, then the meteor got closer, so you want to come back in that week to see what's going on.
They're on season 5, and that game has been out for like a year.
Yes, the games like that are designed to suck you in, and that is just where we're going. That is the important thing to take away from this. If you hate the idea that you can no longer just play a game for 6 to 20 hours, or in the case of which you're like 160 and be done with it. If you hate the idea that games just don't end anymore, sorry, you're fucked. There'll still be some stuff. Cyberpunk, for example, I doubt it's going to have anything like that in there beyond what they did for The Witcher 3, but eventually there will be an end. But a lot of the bigger name titles, Anthem is, to use the example we were talking about earlier, is probably one of the biggest ideas that, hey, this is going to be a game that you're going to play for 3 hours a night for years. At least that's what they're hoping.
Dude, the whole reason why giving money to Square for Octopath Traveler is because of the tweet that said, this game has about 60 to 100 hours of content, and then it's fucking done. There's going to be no anything for this game. It's a complete game as shipped.
A game that's doing exceptionally well, by the way. Not even Square Enix was expecting how well that game was going to be received.
That tweet is literally the reason why Square gets my money. Yeah. Just saying that. Even if the game was, well, not crap, but mediocre, which it isn't.
I don't want a game to be 30 minutes long. but I don't want a game to be a second full-time job either.
Yeah, I can't. Because I like playing a lot of video games. I used to beat so many video games a year, and now that list is so remarkably small.
Yeah.
Because there's just not time to do it.
No, and it's not because our lives
Even
have
in
gotten
slow
busier.
weeks.
Our lives have gotten busier, admittedly. But the main reason is just because games don't just want a little bit of your time anymore. They want all of your time.
Yeah, I actually kind of miss the 6 to 10 hour action games from the 90s and 2000s we used to make fun of for being almost no content.
Well, that's why I loved Horizon Zero Dawn so much. It was an open world game that took me about 30 hours to beat, which is a long time. But once I was done, I was done. I didn't have to keep going back to it. I was like, that was a good contained experience. Give me more of that, please. Anyways, enough of that
was
topic.
Fun. that was a little depressing almost. But yeah, let's you want to talk more about Fortnite?
Not Fortnite specifically, but maybe the guys who make it.
All right, let's talk about it.
I'm going to try to see if this page pops up while you tell the story here.
All right. Well, Epic, those kids that make that Fortnite game that has made just gangbusters amounts of money, announced a sweeping change to the Unreal Engine marketplace, where creators on the store will now receive 88% of their product sales, an increase from this common 70-30 split of other digital stores. So what this means, what we're talking about, Unreal Engine is a gaming engine, and people can submit assets to the engine that other people can use to make games and do stuff. And normally, when you submit an asset, you get a 70-30% split. So Epic keeps 30%, you get 70% of the sales of your asset. They're changing it to they get 12 and you get 88, which is a pretty big deal because if you're submitting tons of assets and people like them, then you're going to make more money, which is pretty damn cool because they're actively trying to compete with some of the other engines. You know, you have CryEngine, you have whatever the hell else, I don't even know. Unity. Yeah, I'm sorry. Unity is the big one that they're working against because Unity has pretty much the same thing, but way more assets than they do.
Mm-hmm.
But in addition to implementing the policy for future sales, Epic is paying out all marketplace sellers retroactively.
And that's what's amazing about this.
Applying the creator-friendly 88% rate to previous transactions dating back to the store's launch in 2014. Holy shit. Like, talking about goodwill, this is huge. If you remember when they closed down Paladins, Paragon, whichever one was them that they shut off.
I think they were Paladins.
Because Fortnite was getting too much money, so they weren't going to support it anymore. They took all of the assets from that game, everything, and just threw it all in the Unreal Engine marketplace so that people can use them and make their own games and play with them, which I thought was really cool. Like, hey, we shut this game down. Here's everything from it. Make your own damn version as far as we care. Now they're saying, hey, we are doing pretty well, and we want to give some back. So not only is here a way better deal for you to submit assets to our engine, we're going to pay you retroactively for this, which is just, that's insane.
So an 88% keep of what you're making on that storefront to begin with is an amazing cut to start with, because I don't believe any other online service as far as this engine stuff goes comes
I don't
close.
think they're even close.
But the retro thing, because they did not have to retroactively do that.
No, not even a little bit. Just the first announcement would be amazing to people that are building assets.
Right, and this does nothing to necessarily benefit them other than just hand out all kinds of goodwill and do, well, what's going on here? Have people talk about it.
Yep. And hopefully get people to flood the Unreal Engine marketplace with tons of assets, which is exactly what they want, because the more people that use the marketplace, the more people that start building games in their engine, the better it is for them overall.
Mm-hmm.
Since they are a bit behind Unity, they do need some work. Unreal Engine isn't quite as popular as it used to be, but they're doing well enough that they can pull this off and still make profits.
The logic behind it from Tim Sweeney, who is the founder and CEO of Epic, is the following. He says, the quote, "Thanks to both the marketplace's growth and the success of Fortnite, Epic now conducts a huge volume of digital commerce. The resulting economics of scale enables us to pass the savings along to the Unreal Engine marketplace community while also making hefty profit for Epic." Long story short, it's volume. It's the Walmart joke, right? Do you know why Walmart has such cheap prices? Because of volume, motherfucker, to quote Robin Williams. They sell so much shit now online that they can cut how much they're taking by more than half, and they're still having record profits, I believe, this year because of Fortnite.
Well, and the Unreal Engine is increasing in use. Like 6.3 million users have been added since March. It's like a 30% growth. There's like 8 million downloads. There's all kinds of stuff.
Well, also let's consider too, it's not the big companies that are going out and buying Unreal Engine. Like, you see that every now and then powered by Unreal, but for the most part, a lot of the bigger studios have their own in-house engine. EA has Frostbite. Sony, every one of their independent studios, every one of the studios they own, rather, have their own engine. Decima, for example, was used for Horizon Zero Dawn. I think it's called Decima. It's also being used for Death Stranding. They have their own engine, so they're not licensed out for Unreal. The people this is benefiting are the small little developers who are cranking out games. Now, some of them, shit, yes, that's what happens. But you get some great talent out of stuff like this, and letting them keep more of their money. When you're talking about people who are like, I don't know if I can afford this $50 asset, even small bits that they can keep extra goes a long way to making a more polished game. And it's just good. It is good for the health of the indie scene. And I hate using that term indie because it's so nebulous these days. But it's great for the small-time developer looking to create their vision and do it well.
Okay, with that, it is mostly true that it's largely indie developers that use Unreal. But just a quick shout of other games. Now, we know Fortnite does it because it's Epic. But how about Rhyme, Space hulk, Lawbreakers, Tekken 7, Scalebound was supposed to use it, Kingdom Hearts 3, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, Crackdown 3, Dead Island 2, Bloodstained Ritual Night, Street Fighter 5, Vampire, Gears of War 4, Sea of Thieves, the new Shenmue game, Vanishing of Agent Carter. Like, there's a lot of shit that uses the Unreal Engine.
Right. I'm not saying that they don't use it. I'm just saying the bulk of those, what was it, 6.3 million editions? Those aren't big established companies.
The way you're talking about it, it made it like seem like it's 99.99%, and it's not quite that. But yes, it is obviously the huge use of the market is going that way. But I just think it's awesome because that potentially means that you can make an asset and maybe it'll get used by someone who's a big deal. Probably not, but
I'm so down for this.
This
Additionally,
is awesome.
this is
good job, Epic.
This is also good for the people you're talking about assets. These are good for the people who are like, man, I'm really good at composing music, but I fucking suck at art.
Yeah.
I want to be involved in game development, but I can't build a game. So at least here is this track that I built that might be fitting for some cyberpunky think like Observer, right?
Yeah.
Maybe someone will buy it, and then they can get money off of that, and then they can make a living making awesome fucking video game music that you hear in other games. Because they get to keep more of the money now.
That's so cool.
This is good. This is good all around. I don't see this being bad. All right. No easy way to transition into this one, so let's just go ahead and move into our last story. And
Speaking of things that aren't bad.
This is, I fully admit, a total fanboy thing, only because David and I love fucking Amplitude Studios' work. It's a little tease of something they have coming up on their forums, and God, I hope this webpage actually pops up. All right. Amplitude, these are guys who make Endless Legend, Endless Space, Dungeon of the Endless, all those awesome 4X games. They announced, hey, we're going on our summer break. We're going to be on for 2 weeks. But here's a little tease of something coming up. Endless Legend Inferno.
Hell yeah. Man, Endless Legend is the game that launched against Civilization Beyond Earth.
And I liked it way better.
And just destroyed it. And even still, I probably load this game more than I load up Civ 6.
Yeah, same boat. By the way, Fuse911, I appreciate you joining the chat. I see you in there. Sorry if I've been distracted. I've been having some technical crap going on my side, but it looks like David got a hold of you, so that's good.
But yeah, so Endless Legend Inferno, we're literally just talking about the fact that a company that we liked teased a DLC add-on for a game we like. But damn it, Endless Legend is a good 4X game and more people should play it. There was what the hell, like islands or whatever the water one was that added all the water-based combat and all that stuff. And so we don't know exactly what Inferno is. Volcano, maybe it's their version of hell, but I don't know. These games are rad.
I would hope what I've been wanting, and this stretches all the way back to our dream games. Remember when I said what I would love to see is a Civilization game set in the Resident Evil universe where you get to build your own laboratory underneath the cities. So you had like 2 levels of management. You had like your city management at top, and then you had your secret lab ship on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm hoping from this is something similar to that, where it's Inferno not because it's hell, but because it's all underground. So you have your top layer of cities, but you have these massive mining complexes and tunnel systems underground. So you have to fight a 4X game on 2 planes.
That's cool. It's you're playing a 4X game on top and Fallout Shelter on bottom.
Yeah. Or, I mean, you can be like, I'm going to fucking dig to this enemy town and just sink it.
That'd be pretty cool. But you know what the other big thing is I like as a takeaway from this story? Is that Amplitude is the kind of studio that's cool enough that they legitimately take a summer vacation as a studio. Hey guys, cool. Sorry, Amplitude is closed for the next 10 days as we leave on our annual summer break. It is an actual company with a summer break. How cool is that?
Now, I know that a lot of talk has been going around recently about game workers uniting and a union for game workers and game devs. I think you know my stance on unions, but what do you think?
It just I don't. It's hard to get into that kind of stuff. I don't know if unions are a good idea. I know that the game industry is like kind of a shitty place to work in, but sometimes also kind of good. They need something, that's for sure. But I'm not the guy to ask if unions are a good idea because I'm not 80 years old. And I don't think anyone's made a union in my lifetime specifically. Like, I don't know anyone besides I have a friend that works at UPS, and I'm pretty sure they're still in a union. And I guess if you're a state worker, you might be in a union. But most of the people I know are just regular old private sector, get screwed over by the company all the time, and no one's in a union because all kinds of legal bullshit that probably stops it from happening.
So I have a natural distrust of unions in general. That said, I do feel like sometimes they do serve a purpose. And if these game companies don't pull their head out their asses and start paying people like fucking overtime or going, hey,
that is something that needs to be fixed. The whole, oh, well, he's on salary and crunch is just a natural part of game development. So they should just crunch forever and they're going to work 16-hour days for 4 months and then they're going to have a fucking heart attack. That needs to stop.
Yeah.
I don't care if your salary, if you're working 80-hour weeks, you need to be making more damn money.
That's my stance on it too. This is an industry that makes more money than fucking Hollywood and music combined.
I believe that. I couldn't work in the industry because if I was on salary and I hit like 50, 60 hours, I'd be like, all right, guys, I'm out. See ya. See ya Monday.
Yeah. Fuse911 chat says unions began for a very valid reason. I agree, because they were fucking hurting people. Like, I don't mean like, oh, 80 hours a week hurts me. I mean like, oh, you fucking lost your arm in the mangler. Well, I guess you're going to be fired now, despite their equipment being fucked up. Unions developed to protect workers from that shit. Over time, they have become corrupt, by and large, in my opinion. I understand people are going to have a different opinion of that. So I take a very dim view on unions. But to go back to the point I was trying to make, if game publishers and the bosses and all that stuff don't pull their heads out of their ass and start giving these people some of the shit that they have earned, you are going to have them start popping up all over the fucking board. And it is going to screw with you on a level you cannot possibly imagine yet.
Yeah, I mean, they could have a giant crusade and then all the game devs just go on a union and they all go on strike. That's gonna hurt.
That will hurt. And this is different.
I get like when the voice actors went on strike, and it's like there's a shit ton of people that can do voicing, and so it hurt the industry a little bit in that a lot of our like favorite characters didn't get their preferred voice actor or actress, and that sucks. But mostly the industry just kind of ignored them, and then they had like this weird middle ground meetup. But if all your devs just stop showing up and that one guy that can find the missing letter in your piece of code that makes it so your AI doesn't fucking work doesn't come to work anymore,
You get Colonial Marines.
all your games are going to be Colonial Marines. All of them. And that game doesn't have any legs. Last I checked.
I don't know. Did you not see the video of the xenomorphs having the crazy legs, kind of doing the hello my honey, hello my baby, hello my ragtime gal thing, where it's just kind of kicking back and forth as it's stuck in the wall?
It doesn't have any monetary staying power. You ass.
The point is, it is an industry that makes more money than God, and people are still being treated like shit. So I get why people want to unionize. And this is coming from a man whose fucking Twitter handle is Capitalist Pig. That's how fucked up the situation is. Anyways, not to completely derail the conversation for what we were talking about.
We can derail it a little bit. Game unionization is an important topic because we believe that the people that make our games should be taken care of.
Yes, but I don't believe in unions either.
Well... Actually, you know what's funny is, by and large, because you don't believe in them, I think they should unionize. It makes the most sense. He doesn't like it, so it's probably a good idea.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah. Either way, David, regardless if a union is or is not in the future, it's not going to happen for a couple months, and that's not right now. I'm sure it'll be entertaining when we see these unions popping up to see what they're actually going to be, but if I wanted to be entertained today, this week, what do I have to look forward to come out playing?
There's some stuff, not a ton. I just need to respond to Fuse in chat, who, in regards to our last topic, is talking about how the money's not going in the wrong places. And all I wanted to say on that is, in the games industry, at least, and other places, the money definitely does not trickle down.
I don't have an idea of what average salaries are, unfortunately. What I do have an idea of...
It depends on the city. Well, because think of how many game studios happen to be in, like, San Francisco, and they just get closed because the people that live or work there can't afford to live there.
You could literally make $120,000 in San Francisco and be considered lower class because the housing market is so fucked.
Yeah, so the problem is that a lot of game industry type jobs tend to be in Silicon Valley-esque areas, or at least, like, I don't even know the right word, like techie areas, I guess, affluent areas. So it's an expensive place to live in general, and a lot of people probably commute, and I don't necessarily think they make a shit ton of money.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why Visual Studios was closed down. That was given. It's just so expensive to operate a studio in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So as far as, like, money concerns, how much you're making, that's between you and your employer. Negotiate better, in my opinion. What I can, however, side with you on is this bullshit idea that just because your salary, you have to work 120 hours a week. Fuck off.
That's not going to happen.
Kiss my ass.
Sorry, bro. It's 6 o'clock on a Friday. You guys can eat it. If you need me, I'll be available by email for the weekend. Other than that, I will see you on Monday.
New releases, David.
All right. Sorry. I'm getting distracted again. I don't know. This is something that interests me. I'm getting all fired up. Okay, so new games coming out this week. We have for PS4, Xbox, and Switch, the new Adventure Time game, Pirates of the
Enchiridion.
Enchiridion. You know, I've read that word a million times, but I've never said it out loud for any reason.
I'll admit, I watch Adventure Time.
Yeah, I watched Adventure Time, but I don't have Cartoon Network anymore, so I can't. This looks interesting. It's a like cel-shaded style RPG Adventure Time game. Just visually, it looks vaguely Wind Waker-y. So imagine Wind Waker, put in Adventure Time characters, and you get an idea of what the game's aesthetic looks like.
Just visually.
Just visually.
Okay, I don't want to make the bold claim that this is Wind Waker.
No, that's why, I mean, here's how you break it apart. It's got turn-based combat. It ain't Wind Waker. But it's, you know, an Adventure Time game. It seems like it's fully voice acted with the original voice actors, and I don't know. I've played a couple of the Adventure Time games, like in passing, and they're decently funny. And you get basically a lot of the same source material, just in a different format. So there you go. And the Wind Waker game is the Zelda game for GameCube, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Is that what it was on?
A lot of revisionist history for Wind Waker, by the way. I remember when that game was first announced, people were shitting on it left and right because of that art style. And now everyone says, oh, I loved the Wind Waker. It's like bullshit. If you were around when that game came out, odds are you fucking hated it like everyone else did.
Dude, same with Majora's Mask.
Yeah, exact same with Majora's Mask. When that
You
game
know what
first
game
came
wasn't
out,
panned though? You know the greatest N64 game of all time?
Battle
Quest
Tanks.
64, baby. Sorry, and also coming out this week for PS4, we have Black Sea Odyssey, a game I talked about 2 weeks ago because it came out on Steam. This is the top-down roguelite space shoot-'em-up RPG where you fly around in a little spaceship, you kind of explore spacey dungeons, but this is the one where your spaceship has a spear, and you can like spear the giant bosses.
It almost reminds me of
and rip them
Whalers on
apart.
the Moon.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool.
They
but now
carry
you
a
can play it on
harpoon.
PS4. They do have a harpoon.
But there are no whales, so they sing song tales, and they sing this jaunty too. Fuck, I couldn't remember the rest of it. God damn it.
Nailed it. Also coming out this week on PS4 and Switch, we have Chicken Assassin Reloaded, which is a strategic button-mashing action RPG. It's an indie game. It looks kind of beat-em-uppy, but it also looks like your character just stands in the middle and you fight off waves of bad guys. We have Far Cry 5 Lost on Mars. This is my favorite part of any Far Cry game, is when all the cool DLC, not actually related at all to the main game, shit starts coming out. And this is, basically everywhere you can play Far Cry 5, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And it's a self-contained campaign where you're on Mars playing as a pilot who gets teamed up with some AIs as you try and fight the alien crabs that are invading Mars. Like, it looks ridiculous. And, I love Blood Dragons, so I basically love all of the Far Cry spinoffs.
There's a lot of things we can criticize Ubisoft for. First and foremost that pops in my head is their horrible pre-order practices with 17 different versions of shit. And then you can also criticize them for the fact that all their games feel the same. But one thing
there's a tall thing over there. I wonder if I climb it, if I'll see more of the map.
One thing I love about that company, especially recency, actually I'm going to say two things. One, they don't stop supporting their games. Now, I know I was bitching about how I just want a game to end, but Ubisoft doesn't abandon their shit either. For example, when For Honor and Rainbow Six came out, neither one of those were doing gangbusters, but they kept supporting them. They kept tending to them. They kept making them better, and now they're better. But Ubisoft
dude, I'm sorry. How does Assassin's Creed Origins run on your, or not Origins, but what's the broken-ass Assassin's Creed game on PC?
Unity.
Unity. How's that running?
Shitty.
Yeah.
I will preface this by saying the newer Ubisoft stuff.
Okay. Sorry, I just had to immediately call you out.
You make an excellent point.
Before they had their whole big press release of, hey, we're going to try and stop being dicks, Ubisoft was like on my list of companies that I would just constantly badmouth because of shitty practices. Yeah. And I will admit they've done a lot recently, but I can't just blanket statement and say that they're good at this kind of thing.
Fair enough. And that is worth pointing out. They have a really shitty history, but lately I think they've been trying to turn it around. And one of the reasons why I think they've been trying to turn it around is shit like this and Blood Dragon, because they don't take their stuff too seriously.
Yeah.
They have fun with it. I mean, they gave us fucking Mario and Rabbids Battle Kingdom. They gave us a Mario XCOM.
With Rabbids. Something that no one actually likes. Though they did come before the Minions. What are you going to do? Anyway,
I just want to mention
Far Cry 5 Lost on Mars DLC out this week, and it looks rad. I don't feel like I didn't actually say that, but it looks bomb. I actually really want to play it. We have Frost coming out on PS4, Switch, and Xbox One. This game is a little weird. It's a deck-building solo survival card game set on a frozen world, and you're basically leading a group of nomads in search of, like, a haven away from, being cold as hell. But it's a card game.
It sounds almost like they're trying to cash in on Frostpunk a little bit.
Yeah, it's Frostpunk-esque, but then you look at it and it's a card game, and I don't know. It's very interesting. Take a look if you want, if you're into card games. We also have Jane Rain on PS4. It's a next-gen 3D third-person shooter. It's in a futuristic world with a linear narrative structure and uses shocking visual effects to present a brand new world for the player's enjoyment. I hate to be the guy that sounds like an asshole, but it looks like every other sci-fi shooter I've ever seen. Now, it could be amazing. It could have a fantastic story, but just going off the trailers and like the little bit of like press material that I've seen, nothing immediately jumped out at me. However, if you're like a big third-person shooter fan, take a look at it because it doesn't look like a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't know enough about it. And just going off pure looks, it seemed kind of generic-esque. How's that?
Fair enough.
We have Hand of Fate 1 and 2 coming out for Switch. This game came out, I think, a while ago, but now it's just being re-released on the Switch. This is
I
the action
love
RPG
Hand of Fate,
card
by
game.
the way.
Now, this is another card game, but it's a bit more interesting because there's also fighting that happens in like real-time combat, right?
So
the
idea
Hand of Fate
is
too, right?
You're sitting across from a fortune teller, and he is telling your story that led up to the events of you running into him. And so as he flips cards, when combat happens, instead of like dealing card like Magic the Gathering like that, the game cuts to a action-based, think almost like the Arkham games.
Yeah.
And you fight that way, and then it pulls back out, and you're traveling on this tarot map.
It looks
and
real
it tells
damn
the story
cool.
that way. It's a really cool premise. I love the first one. Well, rather, I enjoyed the first one. I love the second one. And if you have not played it, I highly recommend it because it sounds like it could be good on the Switch. But I'm really concerned about the size of the screen on that and how it's going to control, because on PC it did have some technical issues that I ran into.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Time will tell. Also coming out this week, we have Let's Sing 2018 for PS4 and Switch. This is Rock Band, the vocal edition. It's a game filled with pop karaoke. If you like top 40s and you like singing into microphones, play Let's Sing 2018. I don't really need to get into that. Mother Gun Ship is another game coming out this week for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. This is a bullet hell styled FPS. So first-person shooter, tons of bullets. Make sure you dodge. You craft guns. You fight giant bosses. You're fighting like a robot alien armada.
It's a first-person shooter bullet hell?
Yes, it's a very fast-paced first-person shooter. It reminds me of like old school Unreal and shit. It actually looks pretty cool. But if you're not into really fast-paced first-person shooters, I would try and run. We also kind of have Mugsters for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Aliens have taken over the planet and enslaved humanity. Only you have to know how to drive back the dastardly threat, free your fellow Earthlings, and save the world. You ever seen the game Stick Fight?
Yes.
All right. This looks vaguely like Stick Fight, but as a top-down action game.
Okay.
If you could picture that. You're playing as like kind of a stick figure character. You're fighting all kinds of stuff. It's got the isometric view. There's vehicles you can drive around in, and there you go. We have Race Arcade for PS4. This basically looks like a sequel to the Pixel Junk Racer series. It's a top-down racer. It has like over 100 tracks, online local multiplayer. What is the old school off-road racing game that was in arcades where you had 4 people standing next to each other?
I think it was just called Off-Road Racer.
It was just off-road, right?
There was a name attached to it as well, though.
Like Dirty Driving Off-Road or something like that, where you drove stadium trucks on like isometric views and you're looking top-down at your old cars and driving around racing.
I'm going to have to look this shit up. Super Off-Road.
Yeah, aesthetically it looks kind of like that. You're looking over the top of the cars, so it almost looks like a slot car race, and you're just turning your car left and right.
Here's the full name. Here's the full name. Ivan Iron Man Stewart's Super Off-Road Challenge.
That game's amazing. I love that game. This isn't that, though. But it's similar in like concept. This game's actually out on Steam already and has kind of moderate reviews, so maybe take a look at it before jumping all over it. We also have Sonic Mania Plus for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. All the dang things. This is the Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic Knuckles, and Sonic the Hedgehog CD like definitive edition. This has been coming out for a while now, so it's like the high quality HD Sonic remake that a lot of people have been waiting for.
Sonic was never good, by the way.
But Sonic was always faster than Mario, and you cannot deny that at all.
It's that blast processor, man. Another
blast
buzzword.
Processor, man. Get out of here.
Here's the thing. I feel bad about saying Sonic was never good, because I actually remember enjoying Sonic 3, and I kind of like Sonic CD. But it could
Sonic's
never
tight.
hold a
This guy's
candle to
stupid.
Mario.
I'm moving on. Super Dungeon Tactics is coming out this week on PS4. It's a classic turn-based game with some gameplay twists. That's what the press release said. I don't know what the twists are, but you have traditional RPG characters, and it's more of a strategy tactics game. So think Final Fantasy Tactics, think Disgaea, think Ogre Battle, more than regular turn-based. We have Tempest.
Those are a lot of good names you mentioned on a game that I don't think is going to live up to the hype.
Oh no, it's Super Dungeon Tactics, man. Who knows? It could be great. I'm just telling you the style of game it is. How's that? Tempest 4000 is coming out for PS4 and Xbox One. This is basically a game based on the old school arcade game Tempest. So if you played Tempest back in the day, imagine that, but it looks way the hell better. It's an action-packed tube shooter.
Now, I swore Tempest 4000's been out for a while.
Yeah, it probably has been, but now it's out on PS4 and Xbox One. Also coming out this week on Xbox, we have The Long Reach, which is an adventure game. It's a side-scrolling thriller, horror, action-adventure game. Yeah, you kind of explore areas, but it's filled with like sci-fi, psychological stuff. It talks about the human psyche a lot. It's very interesting, very story-driven. But again, it's like a 2D styled side-scroller. So
Reminds me a little bit of Lone Survivor, taking a quick look at it.
Looks pretty cool. We have Path of Modus for PS4 and Xbox One. This game, I had trouble getting a good feel of. It's a like adventure-y indie game, but I don't know. You kind of wander around and
I'm looking at the trailer real quick. I don't
and
know what to make of this goddamn thing.
I have trouble because it's kind of like a platform X-ish game, but it looks like a platformer that was made in RPG Maker on the Super Nintendo.
I couldn't tell you.
But anyway, it's out. There you go. Path of Modus. I'm not good at selling this game. We also have Toho Genso Wanderer Reloaded on PS4 and Switch.
Now, I know people who swear by this goddamn series.
This is a re-release, right? The definitive edition of the Tower of Desire games, which I don't believe we've actually had before. There's like you and your partner are fighting against evil, and you have like bullet hell-esque spells. You craft items, you upgrade your weapons, and then you go to cafe and hit on weird Japanime girls.
It's super, super Japanese. So if you're not way deep in the style of game, don't go near it. But if you're a big fan, take a look at it. This is something that I've always been tempted to play, but it's like on the bottom rung of a to-play list that literally stretches back 10 years.
This is the exact opposite of my interests, so I have trouble getting hyped about weird, like, girl-filled anime-style video games.
Fair enough.
Don't get me wrong. I like Nice America. They make some cool stuff, but some of the stuff they release is decidedly not for me.
Okay. I think wraps up new releases there, David. Yeah. By the way, Fuse911, thank you for the sub. Always appreciated. And if you happen to be watching, feel free to do the same, but never feel like you have to do so. They're appreciated, but never mandatory.
We like you anyway.
Yeah. And with that, I think that wraps up GamePoints episode 135. As always, we stream every Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at Twitch TV/GamePoints, and we do try to be interactive with the crowd. We love it when you come by and give your thoughts and opinions on things, just like Fuse911 there did. So if you want to be a part of the show, feel free to tune in live. If you can't make it live, however, you can always look us up at youtube.com/c/GamePoints. That's right, we actually have a YouTube link that's not just a bunch of series of letters and numbers now, and I have no idea how the hell that happened. But you can go to either one of those two places, take a look at our old archived videos, old past shows, like, follow, subscribe, dislike, comment. The only thing I ask is that you be cool about it. If you got criticism, it's always welcome. Just don't be an ass. You guys know
that's
what
actually,
an ass is.
I think, probably our new theme or motto is just don't be a dick on the internet. We've had that conversation with people way too many times.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying really you have to be nice about it. Yeah, just be...
You can be a jerk, but just don't be a dick.
Just be civil. Anyways, this has been GamePoints. If you like what you see here, tune in those days like we mentioned. If you want to follow the show, you can do so at GamePoints PC over on Twitter. You can follow myself, Steve Brett, at CapitalSpeak21 on Twitter. Or you can follow David over there at palshap_Satori. Doesn't tweet much, but follow him anyways. Anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next Monday. Until then, we're out of here.